What's poppin', y'all? Akademiks, the person that has unofficially been crowned the chief of the Kendrick Lamar hater army by many. Some feel like it's an unfair title, others feel like it's an appropriate title. Finally popped up to one of his shows after talking about going to one for weeks, if not months, since the tour started. And he gave his review. So he went to the Detroit, Michigan show. And first I'm going to play you guys what he thought about it. He was in a suite. To give some context, he wasn't in the riser, which is very close to the stage, right next to the people that paid the most on the ground level, like he was for the Playboy Cardi and Weekend tour, where he got pushed up on by Cash XO and the Weekend's guys, which I thought was a little bit odd. I may cover that in a different video, but I don't know. So he gives his take on the Kendrick Lamar performance and the crowd, and it's a little bit, you might be surprised by it. We're going to play that clip first.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's hard to read the crowd. Like, and I'm there. So I'm not getting nobody else's, I don't got to be the person to talk about another person's experience. I'm going to talk about my experience. The crowd is weird. What I mean the crowd is weird is that they're mad selective when they sing along. There's other times I'm looking at them, they're dead solid. They're just there. They're recording, though. They're recording, but they're not singing along. And then there's moments they're super hyped. And it's like these, you keep going from these moments like this, and I'm kind of sitting here and watching it, but I'll start out by saying the first 20 minutes of Dot's performance, fire. And it's fire because he's doing songs back to back to back to back. So he's just rapid fire. And it's hits. Now, I went to go see the Mr. Morale tour. When I went to go see that tour, he was doing, this is why I said he was a great performer, because he was doing things that you don't see other artists do. I'm not saying he was going second verse on every song, but he was really performing some of these cuts, and it looked so well put together that it was still fire. He starts out the show and he's just banging it out. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Next song, da-da-da, da-da-da. And Squabble Up comes on pretty soon. He what's this shit called? The one with Mustard. He does that pretty soon. He does that in his first set. He comes out first. So I'm like, all right. Yo, this is a different type I've never seen this type of Dot. Because again, I'm used to Dot doing more of the slower but integral, really well put together. This everybody, it's like you have the crowd every 30 seconds. Bang, bang. So yeah, no.
When I first started listening to this, I'm like, oh, okay, come on now. The whole get a read on the crowd, where he's like, yo, there are some parts when the crowd's really energized, some parts where they're chilling, they're recording the whole time. It's at this point, he does give it a comparison a little bit later. So just some foreshadowing there. But in my opinion, dog, we are not lit, or who is lit the entire show. They're probably okay, let me conserve my energy here. I'm going to turn up at this part. Oh, this part I'm going to chill and record. But if their attention is there, now this is also a crazy goalpost move where everyone talks about yo, you got to get people to a show, or numbers are fake. You get people to a show and then you're talking about, well, now we got to measure their energy levels. And okay, they've got energy levels here, but are the energy levels consistent throughout the whole show? Well, we've got some gaps here. That's when I'm like, oh, what's next after that? Now, but on a real note, Akademiks has been very outside of the Super Bowl performance that he called trash, and I think this was largely colored by his disdain for Kendrick Lamar getting the Super Bowl in the first place. And I thought the Super Bowl performance was good. He has always given Kendrick Lamar his credit as a performer. Granted, Kendrick Lamar was not beefing publicly with Drake back then, because Akademiks, he was tapped in with Dave Free and the team that was working with Kendrick for quite a while. So when Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers tour was going on, Akademiks went to one of the dates. I don't know if he went to two, but he went to the date and he was with the team at that time. And so he got the really good seats at, I think it was Madison Square Garden. It was one of the arena. I don't know if he did Madison Square Garden or Barclays for Mr. Morale. And he spoke highly of that. He also spoke highly of the Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers tour and Kendrick Lamar as a performer at the Super Bowl. And not at the Super Bowl. Yes. So he referenced it in the Super Bowl. And throughout this beef, he's referenced how great of a performer he thinks Kendrick Lamar is, despite not really playing a bunch of the songs on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers either. So he gave a lot of credit to him there. And even during the Super Bowl, when he criticized it, he was like, yo, Mr. Morale was better. So for him to give credit to Kendrick Lamar here should not be surprising to people that give more than a cursory look of Akademiks' opinion, probably getting it on your feed as some rage bait from one of the many people that hate him, because him being fair is not going to hit your feed, but him clowning Kendrick, calling him trash, saying the Super Bowl performance sucked, any negativity towards Kendrick or deriding towards Drake, that's more likely to hit your feed. So this is just giving a complete overview of why Akademiks may give Kendrick Lamar credit here. He has never outright lied about Kendrick Lamar in his own opinion, right? Like I disagree with the Super Bowl performance, for instance, but then he continues.
That shit was popping. SZA comes out. SZA come out. I was trying to do a BBL check, people. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't shit. Don't come on, bro. I ain't shit. I was just like, yeah. I think I put the binoculars on. Could I see the BBL? But she was wearing some bigger other. Anyway, yeah, I don't know too many SZA songs, so I can't even you see, it would be incorrect for me to comment on SZA songs, like, oh yeah, that's just whack, whatever. I could only comment on what I heard from the crowd, right? They were happy to see her. She performed some songs. Again, same kind of hard to read a crowd, hot and cold. I don't know if it's like, it seems like they're watching a Broadway play at times because they're quiet, and then 2 minutes later or 2 seconds later they're like, because like there's an explosion moment or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know her music like that to really just say what it is. Also, I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit wrong. When I was starting to think, I don't think that crowd was a 1-to-1 SZA crowd. I low-key think it's a 2-to-1 Kendrick crowd, to be honest, which makes sense. This is tour, even though she's a co-headliner. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the biggest moment is Kendrick's on stage. Like, yeah, they love SZA, and I could see some people singing their hearts out, but like the biggest moment, Dot's on stage. Gotta be honest.
This section, though, it's about SZA. I think this was a fair review on SZA for somebody that doesn't really listen to her music. I was shocked that Akademiks gave credit. Well, it's not that he gave credit, but I was shocked to hear from him the proportion of people that he believed were there for Kendrick versus the proportion of people that were there for SZA. And he talks about he thought it was going to be 1-to-1, but he believes that it's more 2-to-1 to Kendrick, and Kendrick is not stealing the show, but when he comes out, it's like, okay, he's out there. Because she's not like an opener or anything. This is a joint tour. And even I thought that SZA has wider appeal. Like, she's got songs that more like females would listen to as well as males. Like, I enjoy SZA's music, and I've been listening to her for quite a while as well. I think, when did I start listening to her? Maybe Control was the project that I still love the most by her. But I would say that was the first time I really dove into her music. Before that, I had just heard about her as an affiliate. But we're not going to get too much into me here. So for it to be 2-to-1 for Kendrick, that's giving him a lot of credit, because Akademiks had previously said, he's like, okay, we've got these shows and the people are at the shows, but how many people are there just for Not Like Us? Or how many people are there just for SZA? And they're like, oh, Kendrick Lamar is here, but you know, somebody's girlfriend really wants to see SZA, so he brought her out and that's why he's coming, or somebody's wife or fiance, whatever the case may be. And I think it was pushing it a little bit, but I do think it was a fair question, because I thought it would be a little bit leaning more towards SZA, just judging just off the vibes, you know, off the feeling, as well as the numbers of what she's been doing the past 3 to 4 years. Because you got to keep in mind, Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was not some big smash of, like, the tour did well, but it wasn't some big smash of a album that everybody was listening to. It didn't have hit songs on it in that time span when Kendrick Lamar was gone, and in the time span between Mr. Morale and Like That and the beef with Drake, as well as GNX, SZA was dropping hit after hit after hit. So it wouldn't be a reach for me to think that, okay, this is probably more SZA crowd, a little bit more, or at least 50-50. I thought it would be more SZA crowd, to be fair. I've always thought that. But for it to be Kendrick, I think that's a big ups to Kendrick. So in the next clip, he gives his thoughts on the rest of the show.
Okay, after that, so we get Kendrick does like 25 or 30, then SZA comes out, does like 20, then Dot comes out, and this is like the odd part, because he does like these medley type of, you know, and performers do this, like Don't Kill My Vibe is like mixed with some other shit. Same with like, I think swimming pools or some other stuff. Like, he does it in a different way. And it's like a new version of only performances. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's like the crowd, I'm looking at the crowd, and they get hot and cold again. They're hot and cold. And that's like, that trips me out. And then SZA comes back out and it's kind of the same thing. And, you know, I don't know. It's, you know, it starts hot, it ends hot. But in the middle, you're kind of, and again, this could be a unfair thing, not only because where I was at, I'm up there in a suite, not down there by a riser, as opposed to the weekend. Like the weekend and Playboy Cardi shit, them niggas was lit from minute one to the fucking end. Like that shit was like something else. Don't want to compare both, but it could be where I was sitting. Yeah, it was high moments, dry moments, high moments, dry moments. Obviously the big songs, whether it's like that or other stuff, yeah, you get.
I think this was a fair assessment overall. Now, I like I said, the whole like in the middle thing, it slows down a little bit. I think if there's excitement throughout, and somebody, like I said, somebody coming to a stadium, driving in there, parking, all of the headaches, the logistical nightmare that it is to get to a stadium and get to your seat and all of that stuff is such a stressful part that you know they're there to enjoy the show. They've got to be enjoying it. So I think he gave it overall, you know, a good, solid review, and this sounded completely unbiased, but he does get into a rating out of 10, and I think I found this interesting because it transitions into calling out a couple of rappers to do a stadium themselves.
But would I say it's you know, given the fact that it's on pace to be the biggest concert in the world, I get it. I will say, not the best concert I've been to. Be honest, just being honest, and it's not being biased. Actually, I'm gonna be honest with you. I actually think the Mr. Morale concert is better, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I think there's so much hype behind Dot right now. It makes sense why, like, this is a stadium tour. I can't comment too much on SZA and her performance and all that type of stuff because half the songs she performed I've never heard in my life. You know what I mean? Like, there's never been a time to be like, let's play SZA. I know 2 songs, well, maybe 3. Be like I think Travis Scott's on that, and then the snooze song, When I'm With You, yeah, that song, and I think I may know another song, but anyway, Broken Clock or something. Anyway, pretty good concert though, pretty good concert. I'm ranking the Weeknd concert over that though. The Weeknd concert. But do I like the Weeknd's music? Yeah, I do like the Weeknd's music more. The Weeknd and Cardi concert, I'm going them. Now, granted, here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you, and this is why I say I don't take my personal feelings into it. And this is why, even when people be like, yo, Act, you fuck with Drake, you shouldn't go. But at the end of the day, I've made my qualms not being no nigga friend. I made my qualms in this industry by getting to the place I've been by covering hip-hop. So nigga, I ain't going to cap with you, like, whether y'all want to believe it or not. If Meek Mill had the biggest tour and me and him ain't really, not saying we beefing or nothing like that right now, but like, if we didn't see eye to eye, some way, somehow, I'm going to have to speak on it. I got to give my opinion about it. And I can't do it if I don't somehow experience it. So at the end of the day, what I was proud about is that hip hop looked good in a stadium. And I made the challenge earlier, man. I think all these rappers should start. There's a few rappers that could do it. Man, I want to see Drake do some stadium. Travis kind of does it already. Weeknd's been doing it, but Weeknd's like more pop. I could see Cardi got that taste for it. Pause.
Overall, I think this was a great review. I do like the fact that he put Mr. Morale over this. Like, I did not pay attention to Mr. Morale whatsoever after the album dropped. I didn't go to any of the shows. Granted, I do think he's ranking The Weeknd and the Cardi higher because he was saying that The Weeknd and Cardi show was lit all throughout. So beginning, middle, and end. Cardi was the opener though, so that's a little bit different. And he was on the riser, which is a little bit lower. I don't think that 50 to 75% of that audience really cared about Cardi. Maybe he just saw and he was closer to and he does give that disclaimer, and he was just closer to the people that are down to turn up, who are all the way down at the bottom, and they're messing with Cardi, or they probably wouldn't mess with not any opener, but you guys get where I'm getting at there. And with The Weeknd, I think it's easier for it to be turned up the whole time. Like, for example, like if he went to a Pitbull show, bro, it's probably turns up the entire time because he's just got such recognizable hits that everybody knows for enough time that it can be the entire duration of a set. I don't think Kendrick Lamar has that yet. I think he's building that up. He's building that up quite quickly right now. But with The Weeknd, the guy's got well over a decade of it, damn near 15 years of just straight hits that everybody knows. So I think it's a lot easier to be turned up to The Weeknd the entire time. That's the only part where I would talk about that. As for the stadiums, yeah, I think it just shows like a different side of Akademiks here, where he's like, yo, overall, this is great for hip hop, and Kendrick Lamar's having a lot of success. He gave the show a positive rating. He didn't rate it out of 10. He did say that the Weeknd and Cardi show was better, and I think that may be due to the fact that he's not too into SZA's music, but Cardi and Weeknd are two people that he messes with their music. Like, of course, dog, I definitely enjoy the Weeknd's music a lot more than Kendrick Lamar. I enjoy the Weeknd's music a lot more than Drake. I enjoyed The Weeknd's music more than 99% of artists, really. Like, especially that early stuff. Man, I was just a young buck listening to that. I was mesmerized. Pause on that. I personally thought this was dope. Let me know what you guys thought about him doing this. He was talking about, I don't know if I put the clip in there, but talking about how he's going to be like the Keith Lee of these shows and just pop out and see what's going on. I think he did it at a Rod Wave show before. He's definitely going to do it for Youngboy. He did it for Kendrick. And this is one of those things where you got to give credit. Like, Akademiks, he could just be sitting in the basement and covering this. He doesn't have to go out there. He doesn't have to spend money and time and effort. It's not going to make him any more money, really. But it's like the guy's got a love for the game. And for him to continue doing this, I think it would be dope. Just popping out to one of every tour, because tour is what we really care about the most. You can't argue about bots. You can't argue about any of that stuff. It's just the audience, the size of the audience, the energy of the audience, and the performance by the artist. I think that's the best way to judge it. There should be a video in the pinned comment about another video that I did about Akademiks getting pushed up on by Kendrick Lamar's team. So check that out if you haven't. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one.